Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of Drawing in Design and Architecture. And this time we're going to try to draw a little bit much more complex form than we drew so far. So let's just start right away and share the screen with you. So you see the form is much more complex, and because of its complexity, we will try to draw it less or more as we see it, okay, from the start. But before we're going to draw this, let's just kind of elaborate on this form and try to create first the profile view of this form. Look how it is. You see, you have approximately going that way, yes. So a certain cut over there is not in the middle of this ellipse, because if you kind of take this ellipse and you just kind of try to do all together, you see the cut is not in the half, because otherwise it would be something like this. It's like, let's say 3/4 or something, yes. So we're going to kind of, because we don't have too many informations. Normally, if you want to be perfect, you have to have the picture from this side, a little bit from that side, a little bit from the other side. You have to at least 3-4 different pictures in order, because it's very complex, this object. It might not look like it, but if you really elaborate on each form of this object, each part, you will see how complex is it. So I will try to kind of explain this, yeah. So look, for example, let's do kind of vertical, let's do the top, yeah. And now regarding the proportions, look, from the exterior parts of this ellipse here, yeah, to the, where is this ellipse? If you just follow the line, it kind of, you see, as the ellipse would probably go, you have approximately the ellipse, yeah, the end of it. So the width of the ellipse going to be this. If you take now from this edge, somewhere in the middle, yeah, the lower part of the ellipse, and you go vertically to this base, which is cut, yeah, because that's your really reference of the height of this object, because here is cut, you don't know, yeah. So this approximately is less or more the same as the width, you see. So based on this knowledge, we can actually start draw the other parts. Furthermore, so as I said, if I want to draw this conic form like this width, so I know that from the edge is the same vertically, yeah. So if I just kind of verify this, and I verify with one eye closed and I go there. So somewhere, if I did this right, somewhere there I have the base. So I have a base there for this object somewhere here, yeah. Now, you see the angle. The angle is not very is not very strong, yeah. This angle, you see, and this is kind of like third vanishing point here. So it's a little bit kind of, misleading. So I would assume that this angle is very kind of gentle. Let's say if normally it would be like this, yeah, it's kind of cube, less or more is cube. So I would go kind of maybe 1/4. Let's say if I divide each of the halves in 4, yeah, in 4 and 4. So I would go with 1/4 as a kind of reference for the angle of this conic form. And the same I would do from the other side, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Okay. So the other would be going less or more that way. Yes. So this would be less or more in proportions. The kind of final adjustment we're going to do at the end. So we're going to draw this form in 2 vanishing point because of its complexity. I don't want to kind of get you kind of lost here. So we just draw in 2 vanishing point. But for now, before we start the 2 vanishing point drawing, we're going to draw the profile of it as seems to us correct. And now I know that, you see, if you go, for example, if you would go kind of extend this line and you would go there, and you see the arms of the perspective are here, you see this is the middle of the ellipse, yeah. And if you just kind of extend this part here, you have this ellipse finishing somewhere here. And another arm of the perspective is when the handle is. So we have one convergence, another convergence, yeah? So on this is the handle, and on this is the beak, yeah? For pouring the water or whatever is there, yeah? Or the paint, whatever it is for. So you see, it's not in the middle, is where is approximately in 1/4, yeah? Look, if I will divide this 1, 2, 3, 4, is approximately 1/4, because that's how you have to go there in order to see how much it is cut off, yeah? So let's just go then. I'm gonna eliminate stuff. So it's 1/4. So if I divide this 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah? So you see now, look, if I go with this angle, you see, yeah? So I have this h, yeah, approximately. Now, vertically, how it relates to each other, look, you see this is how much? 1, 2, 3, you see? So what you have to do this, oops, sorry, you have to also horizontally divide it in 4, yeah, less or more. So here is actually this, you know, part, yeah, and here is the front of the cut part, and it's a little bit rounded here on the base, of course, and you go there, and it's a little bit rounded on the base, yeah, and here what you have it here, what you have the lower part is a little bit rounded here, you have here and a little bit rounded on the corner. You see this, everything is oblique here and there, yeah, everything is kind of rounded, so it's not to the point, it's kind of oblique. So you have this kind of you know, form from the profile, from this profile, yeah, because it's much more interesting. We need to know this profile in order to start to draw this. So for now, I'm asking you to analyze the form. In drawing, you have to always think. Yeah, it's not something when you can kind of draw and be in the clouds. You have to kind of focus. I'm talking about realistic drawing, especially in design and architecture. The thinking is something which have to be always there. So we have only the cap, yeah, the kind of main corpus of the body. We didn't draw yet the handle. But first we're going to draw the beak. The beak is here. You see it's rounded, yeah? It's kind of to the point, but all these points are kind of rounded. So let's go there. So for example, and it's in the middle, yeah, the beak. The big part there is in the middle, yeah, of this entire object. So if this is half and this is half, visually it might seem to you then this is larger than the other part. The only optic kind of sentiment you have, or kind of it seems to you like this because it's missing this part. We extract it, yeah. We just kind of took it away from this conic form. And this form, of course, of this entire object, you know, on the picture it looks much more dynamic because it's in three vanishing point, yeah. It's not in two vanishing point, because whenever you have object, any kind of object, yeah, for example, like this object, normally you're going to see this object approximately like this and like that, and there's going to be the other parts, and it's the perspective there, and it depends how the camera goes. If the camera goes like this, you see the optics of the camera, yeah, from here you take the picture. So you're definitely going to have this form not in two vanishing point perspective on the picture, but it's going to be in three vanishing point perspective. So everything going to be much more distorted and so on because of the angle you take the picture from. Okay. Anyway, about the angles, we're going to talk in some other videos, especially when we're going to draw the human form. But anyway, let's go here. So you have to understand that we drawing this in two vanishing point perspective because two vanishing point perspective is much more harder. Now we do the handle. Look, you see here, if you take the thickness, it would be approximately less or more 1/3 of this thickness, yeah? 1, 2, 3, less or more, yeah? You can assume, or even half, yeah? But I think 1/3 is going to be much more just. And I have this object, but I don't want to look at this. I want to simply from the picture, the kind of, you know, find out how to draw this. So now is the handle. So we said what? We do approximately half or 1/3, yeah? So let's say is half, okay? Half. So we go there. And now, look, how long is the handle? If you take from this part to the corner and you do square, yeah, that's approximately square in this perspective, yeah? A little bit maybe narrower, somewhere there, yeah? Is the square. If you do this kind of isometric angle. Yeah, so what you see, those are flat, but this back and the front over there around it, you see? So basically from the top, it is like this, that you have a square, yeah, from the top view, you have a square, and this side is rounded, you have some kind of ellipse there, and you have another ellipse somewhere there, and you have actually this kind of form of this handle from the top, yeah? If you look from the top. So, and of course on the base is the same form, but is angle from each side. You have angle and also you have rounded. So it's basically kind of the same form, except that is smaller. So let's just go now over here, yeah, and find the proportions, how large is the handle. So I said, this is 1, we do the square, which is approximately somewhere there, that's the square. And now look, the base of the ellipse is somewhere here, you see? You can easily find it out, just extend this lines. And now look, this space is approximately half of the square, isn't it? Yeah. And this is approximately, you see, 1/4 of the square. Yeah. So that's a very good actually idea of the entire length of it. Look now, here, if I go straight line, I have 1, 2, 3 parts and 1/3, yeah? Or on half of the 1/3. You see, this is the 1/3 part, and it's another 1/3 part, another 1/3 part. And this extension for the ovalish kind of, you know, um, uh, shape, the outline, is approximately 1/2 of this 1/3. So let's go. If altogether is how it relates the entire handle from here to this ellipse here, you see if the middle is there, yeah, if I go like this with the ellipse, yeah, you remember, yeah. So look, this is approximately like what? A little bit less than half of this ellipse, a little bit less, somewhere there, yeah. If you take this part, you see, and put it here, you will have approximately this, yes. Of course, you can do another divisions, but I don't want to tire you. I don't want to make you tired with it. The thing is that we need to have what? A little bit less than half. Half is there. A little bit less is going to be here. Yeah. So this is the fastest way. You see, you take this and you just do this form over there. You have the handle finishing there. Now, how the handle is relating here. So for example, we're going to have what? 1, 2, 3, and this is approximately is the half of this 1/3, you see? So now we know which part is where. So this is the passage to the handle, you see this bridge over there, yeah? Okay, I'm gonna take this out because we don't need this anymore. So we're just gonna have clean pictures so you can kind of, you know, look at this and think what we're doing here. So look, normally you go, it's gonna be kind of rectangle, yeah, to the base, yes, rectangle. We know that here is what? If we go like in 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, well, we can actually imagine that this is going to be the angle less or more, and from the other part is going to be the angle going that way, yeah. So we have less or more the handle there, yeah, done, okay, including the roundnesses. Okay, so that's the profile approximately of this form. Of course, it's a bit much more richer. In which sense? In this sense, I have kind of color there, you see, it goes this way, you see, and the same gonna go a little bit here, yeah, a little bit here outside, yes, and as it's gonna go there, you see, it's gonna be something like this, and of course, the upper parts are gonna kind of connect, actually, the upper parts are kind of connected because they are what? Rounded here, rounded. So as you can see on the peak, if I just blow this up, you see, look, is this, and it kind of fading to the flat surface there. And this is actually the same kind of flow. So you don't have cut here. And because you don't have white, because you have rounded corner, a rounded corner on the other side, rounded corner over there. Yeah, everything is rounded. So anyway, let's go. So we have this kind of profile. With this profile, as we did it, we can actually start doing our drawing because we know approximately now all the proportions and everything, how we should draw it, yes, in order to do this right. In design, drawing and design architecture, you have to be precise if you want to really show the right form, imaginary form, whatever it is, to the client or somebody who asks you to modify it or something to do with the form or any kind of form. So anyway, we have the profile. So now we go. Look, as I said, those those of you who have a problem with the ellipses, to do the ellipses nicely, so we kind of, let's say, I'm going to put on this layer. Okay. So those who have a problem with the ellipse, because you see this ellipse now, yeah, you have to somehow make the opening. It doesn't have to be the same. Yeah. Don't complicate your life. So you can make it kind of, you see, and this ellipse around it, kind of, intuitively you can draw it. Yeah. Or you can just simply go like this. Look, very light, and as you feel much more nicer, sure, you can kind of make it stronger a little bit. Okay, the the ellipse there. There are tricks also with kind of cord and two nails and stuff to do the ellipses perfectly, but listen, you have to be serious about yourself. You have to learn to do this ellipses really manually and not put clues or something and try to use the cord and do ellipses. In the office, you don't going to do that, yes? And especially when you draw on tablet or something, you don't going to have kind of these facilities. And the tools if you're going to use, if they give you paper, you don't going to be able to do the ellipses. So it's something which I suggest you all of you, to kind of, for design is necessary, is that you're able to do kind of circle, or ellipse, any kind of ellipse you need from one gesture very briefly. Yeah, it's not like kind of you're going to spend hours and kind of sculpting the ellipse. That's not drawing. Yeah, it's kind of um, uh, tragedy a little bit. So you have to practice your hand doing all kind of exercises, to any kind of ellipses, any kind of directions, straight lines, whatever. That you have to kind of master yourself, and that you can only do when you really work a lot and you practice a lot every day. You not every day, you don't have to do every day perfect drawing, but at least practice straightness of lines and ovals and squares and so on. So if you want to do this kind of easy way, what you can do actually, helping yourself vertical. And now look, let's say if I take, for example, that's going to be my ellipse from one side and the other, yeah, and here's going to be, let's say, the opening of this ellipse here and there, yeah, something like this. So you can of course make the kind of rectangle, yeah, to much more easier circumscribe the ellipses. Why easier? Because look, if you do one form, I'm going to just explain this in a moment. Yeah, if you do rectangle, so look, if you do this kind of first part of the ellipse, yeah. So if you after continue with the others, you see the spaces over there. You try to do less or more the same space you have to leave, yeah. So the spaces also relate to each other as a brothers, and the same going to be here. Yeah, you go there, and also you think about the upper space, how it goes, yeah, and also here how it goes, yeah. So you can do either way. Either you try to kind of intuitively kind of do this kind of ellipse, less or more kind of much more elliptic way, yeah. First sketch when you construct the form, or you just kind of can do it geometrically as just show it here. So it's up to you. Now let's go. We have this is large like this, yeah. So of course from this side you put the same as a height. My guess is that might be somewhere there, yeah. Of course, in order to do this perfectly, you will kind of take your stick or your pencil, whatever, take the, close one eye, take the width and put it vertically, so you will kind of be much more just. So in my case, whoa, in my case, you see the intuitive judgment is always wrong. It should be actually even lower, somewhere there, yeah, somewhere there. So, but anyway, so it's somewhere lower if you just kind of take the measurements and compare one and the other together. So this over there going to be smaller, because as you remember, we put half here, half there, and we're going to use the 1/2 as a kind of angle, yeah? So the other ellipse down there is going to be a little bit smaller, yeah? So it's going to be smaller, but it's definitely going to be what? The height is going to be actually larger on the base than on the top. Why? Because if with my eye over there, you remember I was talking about this in my previous videos, if you do this ellipse opening this way, if you go from the same point of the eye down there, you're going to see this ellipse much more larger, somewhere here, yeah? So if I divide this in half here and half there, so you have to kind of circumscribe here, kind of ellipse, you see, of this kind, yeah? So you're going to have the rounded part a little bit nicer, the rounded part a little bit here, yeah, something like this, yeah? And of course, you're going to connect now, you're going to do the kind of conic form of this over here, yeah? And you see, look now, we look at the angles. It's actually not what we're supposed to do. Here we put it like halfway the corner, but we need to the 1/2 divided by 4. So let's get back, do it perfectly. So now, as I said, we divide it in 4, yeah, over here in 4. And now we have to do it half here, half here. So we have 4 parts from one side and 4 parts from the other. So we go kind of, I do the kind of approximately, the perfection, we're going to play with this a little bit later. So we see here is the angles, yeah? Here are the angles. So now we can go with this, and is approximately somewhere there is the square, yeah? It's not the angles yet, because we have to first circumscribe here what? The ellipse. So we have this already, this part, this rectangle, yeah? And in this rectangle, we're going to do what? We're going to circumscribe ellipse. And we can do this geometric way, yeah? Kind of go a little bit this way, and it's going to go somewhere kind of this way, yeah? So you see now, this angle going to go to this point over here, yeah? Over there, you see? And then you follow the ellipse as a base. And the same you're going to do here. From to this point, you connect with this, so you have the angle there, yeah? And then from here, you go to the ellipse, yeah? The other half of the ellipse, somewhere there, yeah? So you're going to have this kind of, you see, roundness on the base, if you look from the top. Now, let's view now the, I'm going to just erase these parts, because they were only to explain you how you're going to see the ellipses, yeah? I have actually a video on YouTube about cylinders in different, you know, point of view, so you can actually go through those videos, and you're going to kind of better understand what it is about. But anyway, if you just follow what I do here, you also going to kind of learn how to do this. So I just clean a little bit here and there. Okay, so I have the basic kind of conic form where the top is cut. What basically I have here, well, I have something like this. If you have cone like this, but very long conic form, yeah, let's say it goes kind of very long, somewhere like this, you see? What you actually did, you cut it, you see? You cut it the nip over there, you eliminate it, and you are left with this kind of conic form for this object. Okay, so let's just get back here, rewind, okay, here. So look, what we now, you have to find the arms of the perspective. What it is the handle, how it goes, yeah? The handle, which way it goes, and the beak, how it goes, yeah? So let's go. We know that this from this middle, the angles now is not important that you do them exactly as on the picture. Don't stress, you just kind of do your own, which kind of resemble less or more those ones, yeah? And you go this way as well here, yeah? Okay, so now you will see that what? The handle goes that way, yeah, over there, and the beak goes this way over here, yes? So let's do first the handle. The handle, we know that is what? Is one square, yeah? One square and half to this part, yeah? So for example, how it relates to this inside part of the ellipse, you remember? It's this part is approximately slightly a little bit less, like maybe 1/6 less from the middle of the ellipse. So as we did the drawing over here, so it's going to be what? Approximately here, less or more, yeah? Because this is going to be approximately 1/6, you see, if I go there, less or more. So this length, we're going to add it here, yeah? And we have the end of this handle. So that's going to be the end of the handle over there. So now you see the arms of the perspective conversions, you see, look, this is smaller than here, yeah? Gently, slightly smaller. You always do these conversions kind of not very strong like this, like that, because you're going to deformate unpleasantly the object. The conversions is every time you draw, if you want to have nice logic and realistic drawings, that's the most you can go. More you go, much more, if you go with this kind of convergences, you don't want to deformate terribly this, you know. And I have actually the, you know, if you go to my videos about circles, you will see that if you have horizontal line, you have one vanishing point, another vanishing point, and if you circumscribe the circle between those points, you know, so the more realistic object you draw only in always in the middle. As you get them closer to one vanishing point or the other in on the circle over there, and further, even if you go over the circle, you deformate the object unrecognizably. So that is something you shouldn't do. So that's why when you plan drawing anything in perspective, do these convergences very gentle here, very gentle, oh, this too much, very gentle here, and you're going to be always fine. The problem is that if you have one convergences, for example, like this, very nice, gentle, and the others you do this way and this way and this way, well, that's tragedy. Not going to work, and it's going to be kind of a lot of deformation happening there to your object. Okay, let's go with our drawing. So as we know, is what is approximately 1, 2, let's say 3, and half of the 1/3. So in order to create the square there, in proportion the handle, we're going to go first. We do the square, yeah, in the perspective. So it's going to be approximately this kind of object. The other end is here, half is that's where this way, yeah. And as you go to the right, it's going to be narrower, yeah. And you have the other half there, yeah, the other half over there. But you don't have half. You have what is not a half because it's half of the half, yeah. So you have 1, 2, 3, and this end over there is actually you have 1, 2, you have 3, is half of the 3 you add in there. The half of the 3 is simply when you have on the top, from the top you look at the square, is this oblique end. So you have the square from the 3 parts and the half of the 1/3 you adding here in order to do this kind of oval, which you use only one part to do the rounded object. Okay, so let's go. So we have just not even so kind of is that's going to be what you're going to have ellipse here, yeah, circumscribed. So you're going to have actually the handle going this way. You see, you're going to turn the roundness here from the ellipse, going to go there, and it's not the end. Look, now you see this. You have a rounded here, rounded there. So you have big ellipses exteriorly, yeah, put it here and there in order to have very gentle kind of connection of this big ellipse with, of course, the handle, yeah. So in our case, you don't have to do the ellipses. You just simply integrate softly this kind of roundness is there, and it's going to have kind of something around those lines. Okay, this is the top part. But as you can see, you have what? You have some kind of bridge here, you see? Bridge here, yeah, the inner part. You have some kind of bridge here. And after you have a hole inside, yes? And here you have another hole, yeah? Okay, so this kind of bridge, well, how large is it? Look, is approximately, if you take it vertically, it's like half of this, yeah, of this handle. Look, half of the handle is there. So I know right away that my bridge is kind of starting from here, you see, yeah, from here, and it goes this way, yeah, and it's gonna, of course, here you have the other bridge over there, which kind of gonna get me, you see, this way and this way, and this is gonna go kind of rounded down, yeah, this part gonna go kind of rounded down, okay, over there, okay, and anyway, this is, and here, of course, you have the hole inside. So let's just kind of get back there. The bridge we're going to do later. You can actually do this even intuitively as we have the form correctly done. So now, the middle of the square is here, you see, there. Yeah, you go there. Now look, the arms of the perspective, you have the other middle on the base of the ellipsis there. So this is aligned to the middle of the lower ellipse, yes, the middle of this handle. So you have to go, you see, you have one convergence to the right over here and another convergence gentle to the right over there. So you see, this middle part is here, yes? So now you can go with the entire prism. So look, this is there is one side of the prism over there, it goes with this perspective. Another side of the prism, it goes with this convergence to the left. You see, you have there, yeah, you have, sorry, you have approximately here, yes, approximately here, a little bit larger, somewhere there. So of course, if we go kind of through, yeah, let's see, in through this entire prism, we're going to have something like this. But what you know, that the base is like half of the square. Yeah, what I mean that, you see the base, look this, base is approximately half of the upper square. Yeah, so the upper square, this is as this large the base, yeah, over there. So the base over there is going to be somewhere here, yeah, and from both sides over there and there. So you're going to have kind of small square like this on the base, which each side of the square you have, for example, you have this kind of square on the base, the smaller one, and from each side you're going to circumscribe one ellipse and another ellipse, and you're going to have this front rounded and the back rounded to it. Yes, so you see, you're going to have this roundness here, yeah, and the other roundness over there. Okay, so sorry, if you want to do this here, I'm sorry. So now look, you know how to do the angle here. So from this edge, you go and you connect to this rectangular part over there. Yeah, a little bit nicer. Okay, let's do a little bit nicer over here like this. Yeah, connect there. And of course, the other corner you connect with this corner of this other upper part of the rectangle there. So now we approximately there, because here is going to be a little bit rounded. You remember the ellipse, and from the over there is going to be rounded, and so on. And now what is left? You see this bridge kind of there, and this is what, as we said, is half, yeah, of this opening. So you see this space over here you have. So you can put this space actually as large over here. Yeah, you're going to have actually coming from behind. It's going to be there, somewhere there. So it's the same. This is the same over there. And now you see the corner you have here, you see, you can do with few lines, the corner, because it's rounded. So here now, this part which comes behind connection goes kind of up, and you let it go, because this part over there is almost leveled to this flat size of the handle, because this is flat size of the handle. Yeah, okay, so we have this, and now let's do the beak. The beak is here. Yeah, so we know that this is the middle point. How far it goes? Well, listen, you can do it intuitively, but if you do kind of like this, and this is halfway of that. Yes, so, and this entire part is 1/4 in the height. So if we go like this, look, 1/4 on the height is what? I have half here, another half there, another half there. So 1/4 is somewhere where? Over here, isn't it? Yes, isn't it? It's something like this, yeah? And as we know, from the middle, yeah, you have approximately 1/4, yes, of the middle. So if I go with the 1/4 of the middle, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. So if you want to kind of go with this, where's the beak? The beak is, of course, the top is there, and the space you're taking is half of this thickness over here, yeah. Half of the thickness is what? The beak length. Okay, how long is it? So half of the thickness is this, yeah. So you see this space, you extend it, you have the top of the beak. And furthermore, you see this is kind of rounded the beak, yeah, rounded the beak, the beak, the end of the beak is rounded. Here you have another roundnesses, another roundnesses. So we kind of, and furthermore, the sides of the beak is not straight lines, they a little bit, look, a little bit rounded and always kind of rounded everywhere. So you can actually go and you can put yourself this ellipse kind of as roundness, and you can kind of go gently kind of like this and rounded everything, and the same from here will go and we kind of rounded the beak, yeah. And now you see that normally this beak will follow here, yeah, with this angle of the side of the object. You see this beak, if you go here and this is normally this surface, it would go kind of angularly there. Now you know that is on this, on the half of this is the base. So on the half of the base of this is the base, somewhere there you have the base. So now is what? Around it also, isn't it? But narrower. So from here you will go kind of like this, and from here you will go some kind of like this, and you have the beak. Okay. So now you have this part over there. So this goes like approximately, you know, there is the bridge. You have the hole over there, yeah, and you have. I'm gonna eliminate this so you're gonna see a little bit better what is happening here. So you have kind of hole inside, yeah, over there. Look, if I just clean everything, you're gonna have a better view what is happening. And the bridge, the other bridge, goes like this. You see this rounded. So you have the bridge actually something around those lines. You see, okay, yeah. And here, of course, it goes down there. You know, the sides and everything goes down, and you have the other hole over there visible inside of this handle. Yeah, and here what you're gonna have what? You're gonna have a little bit kind of not one line but few lines. Yeah, because whenever you have kind of oblique corners, what you do? You don't do points. Yeah, let's say this is upper part and this is what the lower part, the corner. So you don't do one line, you have to do 1, 2, 3 or something, and then from here you have one side, and from here you have the other side, yeah. But this is rounded, and as it's rounded, you do few lines here and there, yeah, in order to show the roundness. Anyway, so we have almost done this part. The cut over there. We know that is what is more than half. So it's the half and 1/4 of the other half. So for example, this is my half, and if I kind of divide this in 4, so this 1/4 gonna go there. Look how we go. You take this line, you go there, and now you know that now you're gonna know, for example, if we go with this angle, well, it's gonna be a little bit different than on the drawing because I changed the angle. Here the angle is this way, much more lower. So let's just kind of see how it goes. Just a second, I'm gonna just erase this here. Yeah, okay, this here over there. So we have the base over here, and now we have to do the cut. Actually, we can do even better. You see, look, where's the beak? Half of the beak side is even faster that way. Half of the beak is this space, you see, this space over there, add it here, and from there, what you're gonna have, you go kind of according to, you know, this form a little bit kind of, you see, because from here, look, this in perspective, if you go kind of nicely, conversions, nice conversions, not too very strong, somewhere there, yeah, somewhere there is the half. What you need, 1/4 of the half is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, somewhere there. So now you know that the base is somewhere somewhere there. And from this part to this corner, you're going to have a little bit angle, you see? Yeah, angle. So now this part going to kind of gently connect with this part. Everything is rounded here. And where's the other part? Well, if we go with the convergences as we go here, yeah, the other part going to start where? Over here, yeah? So if you go, and it's also going to be what? Angular, because these angles you have also from each side, yes? So it's going to be, so this is going to be the upper part, yeah, go that way, and it's kind of rounded, it goes here. And the on the base, you're going to see a little bit the other part over there, and like this. And you're going to have a little bit kind of color over there, a little bit exterior. So we have kind of basic form of this object done. So I just kind of, if you just kind of adjust everything correctly, this kind of lines, a little bit clean, a little bit everything much more nicely, you're going to have approximately less or more, you know, the basic kind of sketch to draw the entire object now. Yeah, so you're going to have this kind of, you see the bridge over there, a little bit here, and you're going to see a little bit the other part of the big inside part there. Yeah, so now we can actually start, you know, drawing this much more nicely. So let's go in a few lines and kind of finish this, because it takes long. It's very complex object here because I have many things to look at and so on. But anyway, it's something time to time we're going to take very difficult objects in order to show you how you should kind of deal with it, because we're going to draw much more difficult object later on, like, you know, hair dryer or another kind of objects, cars and so on. That's going to be much more complex. So let's go here. I'm going to change the color. So for example, I take this, for example, here, and let's try to do the ovals right. So I'm going to try to get this less or more kind of, you know, gestually here, this ovals. And you don't have to connect the lines as I was drawing the other forms previously. So just kind of try a few times, because that's question of trying. Yeah, it's not always going to happen right away. You have to kind of master this. So even if you master, it's also, it depends. If I draw on the paper, it's completely different, but on the digital surface, you don't have the same kind of capacities as you would have on the paper. And I'm talking if you draw by hand without using any kind of tools. Yeah, and that's what I'm actually trying to suggest you, all of you, whoever, if you draw this, practice with me on the digital surfaces, you know perfectly what kind of about what kind of problems I'm talking here. Yeah, so you just go there. Paper is completely different. It's much more easy on the paper, believe me, than on the digital surfaces, and especially doing this kind of gestural strokes. So as you do this, as I do the lines, I am not actually connect them to the other line. I leave the light between them to give kind of much more natural look. And also this kind of stuff over there, you see, I'm gonna do, look, I'm gonna do kind of this around this, a little bit more, try to be perfect. A little bit from few lines. Only here, look, only here I'm gonna add a little bit, you see, much more stronger line. And also here, what I'm gonna do, you have to do kind of few lines, kind of like, you see, a little bit this way. So you kind of, you will feel a roundness here and a roundness there. Of course, it needs to be nicely done. So kind of maybe, you know, I try to follow the the ellipse. Is not always very easy to do this. Anyway, few thin lines here and there, and you can make it this kind of look much more nicer. Yeah, sometimes, you know, it takes kind of, you know, you have to be persistent, otherwise your brain is not going to listen to you. So it's like with, you know, puppy dog, and brains are lazy, and you have to train them in order to do what you want them to do, not as, you know, that they gonna tell you that, you know, no, change something, whatever. No, I always force my brain to do this stuff, you know, as good as it's possible in the circumstances. Okay, so anyway, you go here, you have some kind of the color, you know, there a little bit visible. Yeah, you have some kind of thickness here. You know, you can do this much more perfectly, but I don't want to make this video too long. So let's just kind of, you see, this is kind of in a much more complex form, so that is normal that it's going to be taking a little bit much more time. And if you would like to do this to the perfection, of course, with the shade and everything, it will take much more longer, but that of course you can do home. Anyway, we're going to do some subject much more with the shading and everything, much more kind of in depth, but a little bit later on, yeah, when we're going to kind of go through all these perspective issues. So we go there, I see a little bit kind of, I don't even connect this line, and here's a little bit, oops, rounded a little bit. Yeah, so actually I can try to do with one gesture this kind of form, less or more is fine. And here, of course, a little bit rounded, oops, a little bit kind of, oops, a little bit better, rounded here. Of course, here I'm going to have just the straight line, and it's going to be a little bit rounded on the base, a little bit kind of roundness on the base, and you go straight line there. Yeah, and again, a little bit rounded over there. Of course, you have the roundness of the conic form also as well here. So here, you see, you don't do one line. One line is going to be kind of, or very light one line, but it's always better because it's kind of ovalish. Put few lines, yeah. So you see the roundness is much more specified, and even over there, you can put another kind of, so you give the oblicity a little bit much more evident by applying some kind of nice kind of like core shadows approximately, yeah, even here a little bit something, yeah, so it gets kind of rounded, yeah. And now even the beak, it's going to kind of have what core shadows there, yeah. So you just add few lines, even I'm not talking about perfect shading, but a few lines here and there, right away you're going to have much more dimensionality there. And if you kind of put the other side of this object a little bit kind of much more, you see a few lines and kind of something there, you also, and also here a little bit kind of core shadow, yeah, a little bit, you see a few lines here and there, even on the edge a little bit, it's kind of get much more rounder, yeah. Of course, you're going to have some kind of shading from the base projected over here, so we kind of go a little bit, you know, darker with this part and so on, and you're going to have this kind of, and also on the base you add a little bit kind of line here, thinner, you see over there, okay. So everything you indicate the roundnesses with it, yes. Of course, here might be a little bit much more darker because it's kind of, you know, over there, yeah, so you can emphasize this as well, yeah. And also you're going to have what, some kind of darkness there, a little bit the inner part, so you can feel the whole inside. And now you, if you go with this part over there, you know, this was the strokes, yeah. You go a little bit nicer, let me see if I can do this, oh, over there, and it kind of fades. And this of course gets perfect straight line over there, yeah, over there. And also here you have a little bit kind of inside, yeah, and you have straight line. And what you have oblique this part, yeah, rounded a little bit. Here is kind of straight, and the end is a little bit rounded over there, yeah. And here you have the corner. And the corner, what you do, well, of course, from there you will add what, again, from the corners, because it's rounded, oops, sorry, a little bit too strong, a little bit here and there, you do this, yeah, and you have a little bit better. Let me try to do this a little bit better, yeah. So for example, the corner edge, it's going to be somewhere there, yeah. So I was close, somewhere there, yeah, a little bit like this. And of course, now we can add a little bit shade here because it's in shadow, yeah. And the other side is also rounded, so you can put a little kind of gentle, oops, a little bit better, kind of line there. So now if I eliminate the red part, I think I didn't took another layer, unfortunately. Yeah, but let's check it where I have the layers. Okay, over there. Oh no, I did it perfectly. Great. So you see, you have this kind of object. So now with this form, okay, you can adjust everything much more nicer because you see, you have here a roundness is coming, so you can kind of integrate this kind of, you see, insides and so on, yeah. So you can kind of make it, I'm doing this kind of shades, but after you can kind of emphasize whatever is in shadow, it might have the edge a little bit darker. Let me kind of try to do that here a little bit. You can emphasize a little bit this part here and there, and a little bit kind of go there, and also from inside here, and a little bit over there, yeah, and a little bit on the base you can kind of add it a little bit darker, yeah. And also on the base over there, you can kind of make it darker, a little bit darker somewhere there. You don't have to connect the lines, and because it gets much more better, you know, much more better. The entire object gets much more better when you just kind of not connect these lines everywhere. Yeah. And this is, let's say, this part over there. Yeah. So this is kind of funny. So just kind of make it a little bit rounder here. Yeah, this part. So you can, now is the time to kind of look for better, you know, better kind of line of each of these objects. Yes. And also here a little bit, you see darker, a little bit kind of darker there. So you don't have to everything. And here you can, is corners, so you can kind of emphasize few lines, but a little bit darker. Yeah. Here's going to, let's say, be the shade or something. And of course, here you're going to have a little bit deeper, you know, this shape. If you kind of really want to do the 3D object much more nicely, you will kind of go and kind of, you know, make this kind of forms. And after with the eraser, you can still kind of, you see, take it some parts off. Yeah. And you can kind of get a little bit, even here, you can kind of interrupt them a little bit. So it's going to be much more the roundnesses, much more kind of fill. You will kind of fill this kind of forms there. Of course, here you're going to have, because this is the edge over there, so you're going to have some kind of maybe core shadow over there, you know, a little bit, you know, visible there. Under is going to be a little bit darker and so on. Anyway, there's many things you can do here. And another way is if you draw, for example, with any kind of pencil, but if you draw with aquarelle pencils, what you can actually do here, I'm sorry, you can take some, you know, water brush. I'm gonna also do in these videos some presentation a little bit later on, but you can take kind of a little bit of water and kind of, you see, and do some, and just a second, this is a little bit too thin. Yeah, some kind of larger, let's say, is that's okay. Okay, so you can kind of, you see, do kind of, and you can do this with, you know, any kind of pencil, but with the kind of, you know, aquarelle pencils, you can actually do better work. Yeah, this is just kind of smudging. Yeah, but with the water you can do the same thing and can make it kind of nice, everything looking and giving much more, you know, and much more nicer everything. Yeah, could be done actually quite nice if you just kind of learn this technique here and there. I'm going to show you later in the videos how to do that, but for now is okay like that. So let's just kind of go to this medium. I think it's that one. Good. So you see if you need more, or you can actually choose when you draw digitally, but you can take that and you can actually, you know, work on this kind of stuff, make it a little bit much more, you see, shading here and there and there and there, yeah, and a little bit something over there and so on, so on. So you can kind of go and make it this kind of much more dynamic, everything, yeah, here and there, okay, on the base, a little bit the hole over there, a little bit this kind of stuff over there happening, yeah, going this way and so on. Anyway, you know, those who draw digital, you know what to do with this kind of, you know, brushes, yeah, so you can make it actually this kind of quite nice drawing if you just kind of spend a little bit time on it. Yeah, it takes time to do it. Actually, a manually is much more faster than digitally. If you kind of want to do nice shading of the form, manual is much more faster than on the digital way. But this also depends of how you know, it is convenient for you to work on digital surfaces. So it's not always the truth, but most of the time it might be, you know, nice to do this, you know, and faster manually. I'm going to show you also this in the next videos and so on. So that will be all for today. It took us this kind of, because we choose kind of complex, you know, object. And I want to do complex objects sometimes because it's kind of, you have to work with the forms from simplistic forms and do some additions, so some extractions and so on in order to create all kind of you know, difficulties. It's very easy to draw very simple things, but all the geometric forms, it wasn't so difficult, but all this kind of object we're going to draw more and more now. You're going to have to kind of, it's going to take us a little bit time. So sometimes we're going to draw them in 3 vanishing points, sometimes in 2 vanishing points. and so on. So that's all for today, and smile and draw. Have fun with it, and to try to now, let's say, draw the same form as we did, but imagine this from the different side, because once you have this form, you can actually operate in this space any way you want. And we're going to try to do something similar in the next videos with the same form, but seeing a little bit in space from different angles and so on. So thank you very much. Bye bye now.